What's up guys, welcome to another very exciting tutorial on how to properly mount an anvil. If you think that's exciting, then you are probably on the right channel. This is a 70-pound NC Anvil. NC is the name of the company that makes them. Not endorsed, by the way, by them. I just like the anvil. This is hardened ductile iron. It's not quite as hard as the hardened steel version, but it's certainly harder than the ASO or anvil-shaped object that I've used in the past. That one I picked up from Harbor Freight for like $55, something like that. And it got me by, but this is far more professional. I think I paid $330 or so for this one. And there is a link under the video if you're interested in checking it out. You can also visit my website using this link up here. And that will take you to the tools and materials page where you can check out all of the tools and materials I use. Anyway, this thing's been sitting on the floor for months now. Since I've upgraded the shop, I have just had it sitting on the floor, and that's because I have not had any way to properly mount it. My mother had a tree come down at her house, and I was able to go over and steal 2 big pieces of lumber. And basically, the first piece is to mount the anvil like this, which I'm going to show you how to do in this video. And the other piece, I was going to make a shorter stump like this one and put my dishing stump on top of it and use it to sort of like a stump to mount this thing. And I thought that's kind of stupid because this thing is just going to wobble around, and it's just why do that? Why just cut out the middleman, throw away the smaller stump, and remake the stump huge with you know, a big piece of wood. So that's what the other piece of wood is you'll see in this video. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments below, and I will be sure to answer them. I also am here to tell you that I am starting another armor build very shortly. I'm going to keep it a secret exactly what it is right now, but I think you guys are going to like it a lot. It's sort of, I know a lot of my more recent tutorials have been getting more and more complex, so I'm sort of going to go back to my roots a little bit and do something a little bit simpler so more people can follow along and you know, accomplish this as well and get them into this hobby. So stay tuned for that. I don't really have a timeline, but I'm thinking roughly like 2 weeks. Anyway, here's your video. Check it out.
Okay, here, this one is the dishing stump. This, you can see I've got the circular parts kind of marked off here, and I roughed them out with a chainsaw. Now I'm using a flap disc, and I am sort of finalizing the shape here a little bit better. A little harder to control a chainsaw than a grinder. Be sure to wear eye protection and gloves and all proper safety equipment while doing this kind of stuff. Now I'm using wood glue to seal the end grain. You can use wax or Elmer's glue or various other products, but basically you got to seal this wood grain because the water inside the wood is going to cause it to shrink at different rates on the inside and outside, which is going to cause cracks. And although this is not going to be anything important like a nice you know, wooden sculpture or anything, you still want to minimize the cracks as best you can. So spread this on and let it dry overnight on both sides, top and bottom. Now this is where you would normally have the anvil face. You can see it's roughly lined up with the hammer as you strike it. That's where you would put it normally. This is where I put it for me though, because I prefer it a little bit higher. Get the anvil roughly in position, trace out basically where you need it to be. And then I'm going to use some railroad spikes to nail it to the wood. Now of course you can't just nail it in there, it'll definitely crack or they won't go in very far. So using a 3/8 drill bit, I am drilling some holes, and this drill bit is not quite long enough. So the other one you see in there is a metal, or excuse me, a concrete bit. It didn't work at all. So this is one of those old-timey drills Luckily I had this thing, and this is long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and use it to finish out these holes. I would have put this drill bit in the drill, but it definitely had a different end on it and it wouldn't work. Now our holes are done. Clean it off a bit. And put the anvil back where it belongs. And then hit it. Now, the bigger the hammer, the easier this is. Of course, you got to worry about, hitting the anvil too, so you can't go too big. Whack these things in there and you're all done. I put one in and then, the other three, and then I tighten them all up together at the very end. Alright. If you haven't seen my recent videos, YouTube has not been sharing with subscribers and alerting you guys, so if you haven't seen my Infinity Gauntlet or my Gothic Helmet or the Gothic Gauntlet tutorials, please make sure to check those out. Very fun builds. Gold Knight level patrons on Patreon get their name in the credits on my tutorial videos, so thank you Jesse Rivera and Louis Montserrat. Also, if you'd like to join me on Patreon, there's a link in the description below.